Pros Tip, proudly presented by DeBro Fishing. Innovative tackle storage solutions for every venue. Learn more online.
Hi, I'm Captain Mike, founder of Florida Sport Fishing Magazine and host of Florida Sport Fishing TV. This week, we are going to share a pros tip and talk about jigging. Okay, we're going to talk about the difference between vertical jigging, high-speed vertical jigging, and slow pitch jigging. I've got a lot of inquiries lately on guys just trying to get into slow pitch jigging. They're saying, hey, I've been jigging for a while. What's the difference? What's the difference in the tackle? What are the benefits? So many unanswered questions there for the guys that are new to this game. So we're going to talk a little bit about each because both of them are deadly effective. First, let's start with high-speed vertical jigging. This is something that really exploded onto the scene, oh gosh, more than a decade ago, and it's still incredibly effective, right? It really is for a wide variety of species. It's got some pros and it's got some cons, and we're gonna talk about both of them. First of all, what are you trying to emulate? What are you trying to mimic? And when you are high-speed vertical jigging, what I'm trying to do with my jig is mimic escaping prey. Hence high speed, right? So I drop my jig typically right to the bottom, and this is anywhere in depths from, we'll say, 50 to 75 feet on the shallow side to 300 to 400 feet on the deep side with high speed vertical jigging. My jig's gonna hit the bottom, generally around structure, preferably around wrecks, is really gonna be the most effective. It's a long, slender jig, like a knife-shaped jig or an arrow-shaped jig. Williamson, the Abyss, the Benthos are perfect examples. Jigs R Us has some really long, slender jigs. A lot of them out there, it's really up to you. Just remember long and slender. Okay, you're gonna drop that jig to the bottom, and using a spinning outfit, which typically is the most efficient and the most effective when it comes to high-speed vertical jigging. Why? Because the reel is really fast, right? This is a Daiwa Isla. This is a size 5000. I don't know what the gear ratio is, 6.4, 7.1 to 1. Either way, I know it's fast as heck. Okay, and that's what you want. You're gonna drop that jig to the bottom, and using just a rhythm, you're going to essentially whip that rod tip as you are continually cranking. And what that's gonna do is just have your jig darting through the water column all the way back up to the surface at a high rate of speed. Deadly effective for pelagic game fish. Tunas, king mackerel, wahoo, dolphin, cobia, they'll all slam the high-speed vertical jigs. Of course, all of the jack species will clobber these as well. Really effective because you're fishing throughout the entire water column. You're going all the way from the bottom, all the way to the surface is typically the key. So again, you're covering a lot of water. You're moving that jig really fast. You're covering a lot of ground. The boat is typically drifting, okay, not anchored. Now, in turn, my rod doesn't need to be incredibly parabolic or springy or spongy. I want something relatively stiff. It's got somewhat of a fast tip there, but it's got a lot of backbone. I mean, hopefully you can see that there, a lot of backbone. Really comfortable. This is a Chaos SP VJ. It's a spinning rod designed specifically for vertical jigging, and this is a 300 model, meaning it's rated for jigs up to 300 grams. Certainly a lot of variation there. Long butt section fits comfortably under that arm, under the shoulder, which you absolutely need because you want that reel right out in front of you. If it's tucked way in, you're not going to be able to get the effective action that you're looking for. A lot of pros there. What are the cons? Man, I'll tell you what, it's tiring, right? It could be very tiring working that rod. And if you're not in rhythm, if you're not fluid with the equipment, you're gonna wear yourself out before you even hook a fish. So you really have to find that magic rhythm that works for you, keep that jig moving, cover the water column, and you're gonna catch fish. There's no question, okay? Really effective. However, obviously, most recently, slow pitch jigging has emerged as just the hottest technique, and for really good reason. And by the way, before I get into this, let me just talk a little bit more about the high-speed vertical jigging outfit. 20 or 30 pound braided line on the spinning reel. You could even bump it up to 40 or 50 depending on, of course, the target species. And my leader material is generally anywhere from 30 to 50 pound diamond presentation fluorocarbon. I'm connecting that 20-foot leader, that top shot of the diamond presentation fluorocarbon, to the diamond braid with an Alberto knot. Okay, that's it. There's no swivels, no hardware, no junk. This way you can reel it right through the guides and, of course, right onto the reel and fight that fish right to the rod tip. So not a lot of crazy hardware, not a lot of crazy terminal tackle, but again, you've got to do it right. You need that braid for the sensitivity and to keep that jig moving without all of that extra elasticity that mono offers, okay? So again, that's the high-speed vertical jigging gig. Back to the slow pitch jigging. Different animal altogether. A lot of similarities, but completely different. Now the jigs are different, obviously. I've got, in this case, assist hooks on the top of the jig and on the bottom of the jig, whereas with the high-speed vertical jig, I just had the assist hooks on the top of the jig. In any case, by the way, these are VMC assist hooks. They're new assist hooks, and they're awesome. These are now my absolute favorite assist hooks. They never bend, they're super strong, variety of sizes, they've got some great tinsel, really thin, easy to work with, and very rarely will you lose a fish or will it come unglued. Anyhow, the tackle is different. Conventional outfits are typically far more effective for slow pitch jigging. The rod is much more parabolic, hopefully that translates there. Much more springy, as you can see. I mean, look at that, really springy, okay? The equipment is much lighter than the vertical jigging equipment, the high-speed vertical jigging equipment. Slow pitch jigging gear is much, much lighter. You're moving that jig much slower, and rather than mimicking escaping prey, what I'm trying to do is mimic wounded prey, okay? And this is the biggest difference. High-speed vertical jigging, the jig is darting through the water column from the bottom all the way to the top as if it's escaping, right? Slow pitch jigging, I'm working particular areas of the water column, generally the bottom quarter or third of the water column. Hence, if I'm in 400 feet, the bottom 50 to 100 feet, just as an example, okay? And I'm mimicking wounded prey. As I pitch that jig very slowly, it's pitching off to the side, it's darting off to the side, it's wobbling, it's darting off to the side, it's wobbling, it's darting off, and again, that repetitious behavior really mimics wounded prey, and it keeps my jig in the strike zone for a greater period of time when I'm targeting demersal species that are related to the bottom. A grouper or a mutton snapper is not going to chase a jig that far off the bottom. He's just not going to do it. He knows the bottom is security, the bottom is home, right? A grouper is not going to go 100 feet off the bottom. So I want to keep my jig close to the bottom, either right on the bottom, 20, 30, 40 feet at the most, depending on the depth. And slow pitch jigging allows me to do that by keeping that wounded prey right there in the strike zone. I'm not taking full cranks with the reel handle. I'm taking quarter or half cranks, okay? I'm just trying to keep that in front of that fish for a maximum period of time. That's what's going to entice those strikes from those tile fish, the snappers, and the groupers. But everything eats slow pitch jigs. I've caught, oh God, the list goes on. I mean, forget it. But certainly all of the pelagic species as well, because you can work it throughout the water column, and you'd be surprised to find, or you might be surprised to find, that wahoo, blackfin tuna, sailfish, cobia, king mackerel, they all feed at times right off the bottom. So while you're keeping that jig in the strike zone for the snappers and groupers, the pelagic predators may pounce on it as well. And forget about the almaco jacks and the amberjacks. We know that these are just deadly across all of the jack species. Now, another benefit to slow pitch jigging is it's so much more comfortable. I'm not exhausting myself. I'm barely moving the jig, okay? I'm never breaking a sweat. If you wear yourself out slow pitch jigging, you're just not doing it right, okay? You're not in that rhythm, you're not fluid. You should be able to fish at the rail, fish, you know, on the boat, slow pitch jigging for an unlimited amount of time without getting fatigued, okay? Like I said, the equipment is ridiculously light, ridiculously sensitive, carbon fiber rods, so sensitive, so light, just really unbelievable. 20 or 30 pound diamond braid. Again, my Top Shot, my leader material is anywhere from 30 to 60 pound diamond presentation. 95% of the time I'm using 40 pound diamond presentation. I connect that to the diamond braid with that same Alberto knot. A lot of the technicalities are the same there as far as no terminal tackle, you know, like no extra swivels and things to that nature. Keep it stealthy, keep it clean, keep it sleek, and you're gonna stay connected. Which is a better approach? Well, I guess it all depends as to what you're looking for. If I'm specifically looking for tuna and no other species, I'm gonna say that the high-speed vertical jigging may be the way to go. If I wanna cover that water column, canvas that area, target the bottom fish, slow pitch jigging is the way to go. So it's always a good idea to have, you know, both outfits so you're ready for every situation that you're gonna encounter. Hey, also let me remind you, make sure that you check out FSFTV.com. It's our new streaming channel, Florida Sport Fishing TV Plus, but the web address is FSFTV.com. 300 instructional videos, tons of seminars, complete episodes from the last 10 years of Florida Sport Fishing TV, all sorts of good stuff. I'll tell you what, it will absolutely help you become a more successful angler. Thanks. Get out there this weekend, catch them up, and I'll see you next week.